We had a couple days of fundamental work in all three phases, and been doing some things behind the scene in terms of the evaluation of our schematics and the quality of our work. And hopefully we take the lessons learned, and we still, as a staff, even though the field work is done, we still have some more work days ahead of us in the bye week. And so we'll continue to gather that information and let that information be a component of our next plan and the subsequent plans to follow. But obviously the most important one is the next one. We'll take a step away and enjoy the weekend, and then get focused on our next opportunity as we come out of the weekend. That's the messaging that we left with the guys. It's good to get away, it's good to unwind, but we ask these guys to be intentional about their plans and to be safe. That's just life in 2022. And then we come back in here on Monday and start with a good bonus day geared toward New Orleans prep. Regarding the transactions that we had yesterday, really excited about acquiring Will Jackson. Highly familiar with Will, not only from the AFC North, but just pre-draft when he came out. He was a guy that we had a lot of interest in. We like his skill set. He's good on the line of scrimmage. He's got really good top-end speed. He's an experienced guy. He's experienced in the NFL, also experienced in the North. And so obviously he has to learn what to do, but we're excited about his inclusion and letting his participation and how quickly he learns kind of be our guide maybe in terms of what his role might be, particularly in the short term. With the Chase deal, it was about draft capital and value for us. Chicago Bears second-round pick is a pick that we value and excited about what that brings us. But it's more than just being excited about capital. You know, we got some games left to play, and we feel really comfortable with the depth that we have at Chase's position, the wide receiver position. And more specifically, we're really comfortable with our playmaking ability inside. And he's made the majority of his plays to this point in the season inside, and not only at the wideout position, but that's a space that we're really comfortable with Pat Freiermuth as well, being a significant component of our attack on the interior portions of the field. And so that depth coupled with Pat's presence and development is what allowed us to feel comfortable in terms of moving him and acquiring that draft capital. I'll pause and open it up for questions.
Mike, the evaluation of schematics you talked about, is that different this season than in previous years for you?
I hadn't compared it to other seasons, because a lot of the variables are relative to the now, the tools that we have to work with, our personnel and the challenges and so forth. Procedurally, it's probably similar, but I'm really just focused on the variables here in 2022.
Mike Jackson, Ron Rivera said yesterday he felt like they got their evaluation wrong and that he wasn't as good of a fit for their scheme as they thought they would be. What do you think makes him a good fit for your scheme?
Again, we probably have more intimate knowledge of him and his skill set and what he's done in the league than those guys, because not only do we do our research prior to the draft, but he was a division opponent that we saw twice a year at the early stages of his career when he spent the bulk of his time in Cincinnati.
How's his health coming in?
He's fine. You talking about Will Jackson?
Yeah, because he had missed some time, I guess, there, hadn't practiced a little bit.
It was insignificant, I think, in terms of the transaction, so it's a non-factor. He worked today.
Mike, I know that we ask you about the potential for changes frequently, but with the bye week and having extra time to evaluate things, do you anticipate any kind of significant change, or is this just about tweaking what you already have in place?
I don't know what you determine to be significant. I know that we're open to doing whatever's required for us to be better, and we got some planning ahead, particularly as it pertains to our next matchup. So, no, I'm not excluding anything that you might determine to be significant.
Mike, in terms of Steve Sims, what stands out about the way that he's taken advantage of his opportunities to put himself in the conversation for more playing time?
He's been making plays when called upon, and that's what I mean when I'm talking about we're comfortable with the emerging depth at our receiver position. He's been making plays when called upon, and I think based on what we've seen thus far, it's reasonable to expect that to continue.
Mike, when you make a trade where you're trading away a productive guy that's going to start up for you for a draft pick, that's the kind of thing that probably doesn't happen if you have a 6-2 record instead of a 2-6 record. Do you feel like that's a sign of that this is a talent deficit? Is that sort of an acknowledgement of that you guys need to go back into the draft and increase the level of talent on this team?
No, I think it's a sign of what I outlined, and that's why I took the time to outline it in great detail like I did. We got quality depth at that position, not only at that position, but in the space where those plays were made, and to have an opportunity to acquire top-end draft capital was attractive to us.
Other than Sims, is there anybody else you might want to get a look at in there?
Gunner, Miles, Boykins, man, we got some guys that have logged some game time and appear to be poised for an increased role with some guys with some NFL experience that we're comfortable with.
Like, just to follow up on Brooks' question, you mentioned significant changes. Is changing coordinator or coaching staff, is that at all a possibility here?
No.
Anyone else? All right.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.